Behold, the Cannondale Synapse. A bike that has helped to define the endurance road genre since 2013 and winner of Cyclist Best of the Best Endurance Bike Award 2021. Okay, so before we dive into the details, the award that we've bestowed upon the Synapse as our Best of the Best Endurance Bike 2021 was done completely independently by us as an editorial team based on our testing of this bike and its predecessors. It's the purpose of this video really is to explain why we feel like this is the best endurance bike out there currently. So what is an endurance bike? What defines an endurance bike over a race bike? Well, building a bike that was ostensibly focused more on the comfort aspect for the rider and a much more kind of stable handling with longer, slacker geometries. And we have seen all kinds of different solutions from various brands to build a bike that's more suited to those longer all-day rides. And we've landed on some really good key models as well, things like the Trek Domane, the Giant Defy, and of course the Synapse as a standout. A significant part of the reason why we've seen the endurance road bike develop at a fast pace over recent years is the coming of disc brakes. Manufacturers have fully embraced this technology, curiously not just because of the enhanced braking performance it offers, but more because the freedom disc brakes tend to lend to both frame and wheel engineers to explore new ways of generating comfort and speed combined. And that right there is really the crux of this particular genre of bike. We've seen endurance bikes get considerably lighter lately, and also many being given an aero overhaul too. So we could be forgiven for thinking we're kind of just circling back into the territory of the race bike. But there is still that subtle but important point of difference. Endurance bikes need to tread a fine line to meld that speed and performance element with that versatility and comfort that's expected of them. Basically, an endurance road bike is expected to be able to make a decent fist of practically any riding situation, and that's a tough balancing act to pull off. But it's one that we, the Cyclist editorial team, all agreed the Cannondale Synapse has always managed to deliver expertly. So the last time this particular Synapse was updated was back in 2017, and that was, to all intent and purposes, just a disc brake makeover for its predecessor. Because ultimately that bike, which was launched back in 2013, was arguably quite a way ahead of its competitors in terms of the features it was already showcasing some 8 years ago. I mean, that bike already had a lot of integration of components. It had internal cable routing and a hidden seat clamp, the 25.4 seat post and so on. So yeah, Cannondale was a way ahead. And actually that bike was the bike which Peter Sagan arguably had his most successful ever classics campaign riding. So now in 2021, this Synapse is coming up 4 years old, and I can't help pondering therefore what might be in the pipeline from Cannondale sometime soon, because as we know in this industry, bikes generally have that kind of 4 to 5 year product life cycle. So it could be in the nick of time too, because I'll be honest, whilst this Synapse did run out as a unanimous winner in our head-to-head best of the best competition for the endurance bike sector, you know, the competition is growing ever stronger in this category. So what were those key details that stood out for us that enabled the Synapse to just edge out its competitors? So something I think Cannondale has really done well with the design of the Synapse was the way in which it's interpreted the endurance sector. And I think what I mean by that is some of its competitors have maybe over-egged that comfort element by having a really tall front ends, very relaxed geometry, long wheelbases, and adding in those actual moving, active suspension systems and so on. And what that can do, if you're not careful, is always the danger of making a bike feel certainly heavier, but even a bit languid in its handling and responsiveness. And ultimately sort of robbing the bike of speed. And yet, it's speed that most cyclists all measure themselves and compare themselves by. Whether that's giving your mates a kicking up the local climbs, or getting a gold award in a Grand Fondo, or perhaps even just riding to work faster. You know, it's speed that we all enjoy about a road bike. And I think for that, in the Synapse, what you see is a bike which actually is very subtly only slightly removed from Cannondale's racier brethren, the Super 6 Evo. I mean, that's actually only a few fractions of a degree difference in the geometry of the Synapse compared to that bike, and even the head tube is only 10mm taller in the Synapse compared to the Super 6 Evo. So something that I believe that Cannondale did really well with the Synapse was realise that comfort comes from more than just the frame itself. And whilst the frame does have comfort elements built into it, things like the Save carbon chainstays designed to flex a little bit like a leaf spring, and so on, it's kind of focused more on other elements to gain back that comfort that we want. So with disc brakes, we've got so much more scope for wider tyres. You've got clearance for a 32mm tyre here, and this bike comes with a 30mm tyre. So from that, straight away, you know, we can gain back so much more comfort. And also the seat post. Cannondale was the first to launch a bike with a 25.4mm carbon seat post designed to give that bit more flex, so that as a rider we're protected from that the road vibrations and the bumps, which delivers the comfort that we want, but in a way that means that the frame can still be super light. This is a 950 gram frame in the high mod version that I'm riding here. So overall we've got a bike weight well under 8 kilos. I think this one weighed in at like 7.8 kilos or something like that with the Force ETAP Axis spec. So yeah, the end result is that the Synapse really hits that sweet spot where it's kind of like a comfortable race bike or even a race endurance bike, I don't know, but yeah, hits that sweet spot that we're looking for really well. So there we have it, the Cannondale Synapse. Undeniably one of the most prevalent endurance road bikes of the current era, and one that we feel epitomises this genre, importantly not by following others but by treading its own path and delivering what is expected of it in a clean and unfussy way. Quite simply, it gets the job done. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That really helps us to be able to continue to create and deliver more content in this way. And of course, if it's more content you're after, do check out our other videos, plus head over to cyclist.co.uk for the latest tech, news, and in-depth product and bike reviews.